Hey guys, welcome to the Whitetail Anonymous podcast number 7. Today, Josh Bias and I are going to have a conversation with Doody Cook. Doody's a true outdoorsman from the great state of West Virginia, lives in the southern region. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about shed hunting. Doody's a shed master, and a little bit about a buck named Booner that he's chasing, and some of the tactics he's using to chase that deer. Doody, say hey to everybody.
What's up, man?
Doody, thanks for coming on today. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, that's we really appreciate it more than you know. Doody, tell us a little bit about yourself, man, for the people who don't know you.
Yeah, I live in Wyoming County in southern West Virginia. Got 2 kids, a girl and a boy. They're in the woods with me all the time. Worked in a coal mine. I've been a coal miner about 15 years. And when I ain't mining coal, I'm beating the woods down somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. They Doody, what you hunt in Wyoming County too? I'm guessing, right?
Yep.
How you're probably pretty close to our lease up in Hanover.
Yeah, I'm not far from Hanover at all.
Yeah, right in that area. So, all right. Well, with no further ado, let's jump into it, Doody. Anybody who follows your Facebook can see that you are the shed master. You find them. Every day you're up in there doing it. You know, and a lot of people in the Midwest, you know, I see finding these sheds. They're walking in these big old long flat fields. Then I go look at my lease in West Virginia, and I'm like, where the heck are the big old long flat fields? They don't exist. Yeah, so that's you know,
around here.
Yeah. So and this is non-existent. So, you know, let's talk about it. You know, what do? You know, when do you start your shed hunting?
As soon as the closer it gets to the end of the season, the more excited I get. I think my buddies, they aggravate me all the time. They say, I'm the only person they know that gets excited about the end of deer season. I watch my trail cameras from the day the season goes out. I start watching my trail cams. I mean, I'll check them a couple times a week. And as soon as I see one come in there and he's got spots on top of his head, I start looking.
Yeah, you're hitting the woods at that period of time. So that's a.
Doody, do you let me ask you this. I know, you know, we all bait late in the season, you know, it helps them, and then some of us hunt over it, and then a lot of us bait to see, you know, to try to hopefully get lucky and have a shed drop right there. Do you put cameras out on trails you think deer's walking? Do you start branching cameras out off of certain bait piles trying to see the direction they drop in or anything like that?
When just say Booner, for instance, when I was watching for him to drop, I got a camera right, you know, where I'm feeding at, and then I'll take a couple cameras and take them out in a couple different directions off of the bait, probably 200-300 yards away. Just watch and see which way he's coming in, so I know once he drops, I know which way to start looking.
That's what I figured. I started doing that a couple years ago, and that's a good tactic. I found, you know, a couple of sheds by doing that.
Yeah.
Spreading them out, that's something that right there, you know, folks, like we talk about learning something new every day. That's something I'm gonna shove into my arsenal of shed hunting this year. Hopefully it can next year, this year, late this year, next year. So Doody, the deer you hunt in your home range, I mean, that's your tactic. But say you go to a place you don't hunt, I mean, you walk up to this big mountainside, where do you start?
I look for laurel thickets and pines. If I see one single pine tree on a hillside somewhere, I'll go check it. It seems like if there's a big pine tree somewhere, them big bucks like to lay in.
Really?
I found a lot of sheds. I'll come up to a holler and see just a big couple pine trees together on a bank. There's the only pine trees around, and go up there and there'll be a shed laying there.
Really? Okay. What do you think the deer like about it? They got cover underneath them, or can get up underneath
cover, especially in the wintertime, you know what I mean? Keep the snow off of them. And from what I've seen, the laurel thickets eat those leaves off the laurel, but I'll go through these laurel thickets and the leaves will be eat off as high as them deer can reach around through those bushes.
Really?
I found a lot of sheds in laurel thickets. You can see my pictures on Facebook. I'm in laurel thickets a lot.
Yeah, and you're standing on the side of a mountain a lot. That's up there. So.
And I tell you, I like these old rough points. These points I find like Booner and Hammer both. There's one point, it's so thick you can't hardly walk through it, and their sheds are laying right there somewhere every year.
Really?
They get right down on them old bucks, get right on them big thick points, them old rocky points, and they'll lay down.
Now, you know, I know southern West Virginia, you know, most of the hills have the old logging roads cut through them or gas well roads cut through them. that's the easy man's way of shed hunting. Do you find anything on those, or do you have to get off the beaten path down in it?
But I got a couple places. I got gas roads people drive on every day, and I find sheds laying 10 foot off those roads.
Really? So that lets you know the deer.
They love those old gas roads. I don't know what it is about them. If it's where they're thick on the sides or what it is, but when I found Booner sheds, they were laying 30 feet off a road that people drove on every day.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Now you found his sheds a couple years in a row, haven't you?
Yeah, him and Hammer, and then I had another buck up there. We called him Blade. He had a big drop time, but he died old age. We never did. I found a shed off of him this year from 2 seasons ago that had the big drop time on it. But I found his shed 6 years in a row on the same point.
Really?
Did you find Booner's shed this year?
No, I've not found him this year yet.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I knew you found. I remember seeing it, and I wasn't sure if you found Booner's yet or not. I couldn't remember.
What?
I ain't found them. I don't know if somebody's picked them up or a set that big. I don't see how they stay hid for long. But I walked myself to death looking for them. And last pictures I had of him was January 19th, and he still had it up there.
And he still had both sides.
He still had both sides. But see, last year, him and Hammer, I found his. I picked his up, and I didn't walk 30 yards and picked Hammer's up. They were laying together.
That's crazy.
This year, when I found Hammer, I checked my camera. It was January 8th, and Hammer come in. He didn't have. He dropped both of them. I took off right then, and I found both of them. And I just knew, I was like, any day Booner's is gonna be laying here, and I've not found them yet this year.
Yeah. That's
I know, I've talked to, a lot of people starting to know about that deer or whatever, but you get much pressure, people coming in there on you in that area. I know of a couple people I know personally that knows of him, but I didn't know how much pressure. That's good. That's great there. And I know the guys that I know that know of him are, pretty legit hunters, so that's good. You ain't got to worry about nobody coming in there and doing nothing stupid and poaching you at least.
Yeah, that's
somebody earns him.
About to getting poached because there's a lot of riding, coon hunting stuff goes on up in there. And not saying, but there's a lot of people in the holler. But as far as hunting pressure on the deer, as far as him changing his pattern over hunting pressure or anything like that, he ain't. But people around here, they pretty much respect each other. With man's hunting somewhere, people
stay out.
They won't come in there on top of you.
Yeah,
that's good. That's where I hunt in Logan. Them boys there in my area, they're pretty good about that too. Yeah, a lot of them know, Josh hunts here, and a lot of them won't come in there on me, and vice versa. I know where a few of them other boys hunts.
I wish the state of North Carolina was like that. If they know you got a big deer, they're gonna hang one right beside of you. It's
horrible down here. I've got to where I won't even hunt down here hardly. I may kill a doe or two early, but I absolutely, especially in my area, North Carolina, you're lucky. A 2.5-year-old is like a 7-year-old at home down here. Yeah. They just don't see it.
Now, Doody, when you go into these, I guess, newer properties, you don't hunt them, you just shed hunt them. And I've seen pictures of you literally on these big, what do you call them? Big cuts of the woods, this big cutover looking things. I mean, are you walking straight up and down these hills, or are you trying to hit the roads?
You walking valley?
I get in these valley fields, and I love looking at big power line. I found a set this year, as a matter of fact, in Buffalo Creek, a big power line, and I get in them power lines in valley fields, and I zigzag
back and forth
all the way down.
Down them.
I found one set. They probably go. They're in the mid 150s. I've not scored them yet, but they was huge. They was laying. We got up there, and I started down a big right of way cut, and didn't go down in there 100 yards, and there they lay about 10 foot apart from each other.
Wow. How many sheds you found this year?
I found 17 singles and 6 sets.
Man, you were the man.
2 sets score over 150 inches.
That's Southern West Virginia, man. You found more sheds in a year than I've found in my life.
And that's a work for me, and that's like I said, he works 6 days a week in the mines too. So it ain't like he's out there doing it all day long.
I know a lot of people struggle seeing them. And it said, what do you just have the eye for it? Is there something you look for in the grass, or is it?
But I was trying. I said when I found probably 12, 13 years ago. You know, I walked up on a couple sheds. You know, usually you find a couple, and then it's just something that I read every magazine article I could find on it. Got on the internet, just everything I could find on it, I was reading about it, and it's just something I started doing. And you gotta train your eyes for it. I don't look for a whole horn. There's a lot of people go out and they're just, I can't find one. They'll walk by them. I look for pieces of the horn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I told
don't look for the whole horn laying there.
And you'll mess up doing that, and you got to look for the tine sticking up, or just and you know, and you got to take your time. A lot of people, I notice a mistake a lot of people make is, and I'm not nowhere near you, but I can find a few here and there. But a lot of people walk way too fast. They don't take their time, and that's where they miss. So, like you're saying, they're looking for it to just be laying there, even though if it's a fresh drop, don't mean it's going to be just laying there easy to see, because they drop so funny sometimes that the pedicle could be the only thing sticking up, and you can walk right by.
Yeah, right by.
I found them before. There's only a couple inches of tine sticking up out of the leaves, and the whole horn covered. You know what I mean? I've took people with me, and like I said, people do when you're out there, you got to slow down, man. Get you a good pair of binoculars and scan the area. I mean, because I walked behind people and picked them up. They walked right by them on one step on them.
Wow.
Yeah, I done this year. We there in Wyoming, and we walked by. And I actually walked by. John walked by, and then another buddy of mine, Ronnie, walked by, and then I walked by, and another buddy walked back by.
You found it coming out.
But that was in December, so they really wasn't talking that much then. And then me and Daniel went by. We both walked by, and we was coming back out. And I kind of slowed my roll a little bit and started looking, and I found it. But yeah,
I still catch myself. I move too fast sometimes. I got to stop myself, slow myself down sometimes.
Yeah, running them heels.
Especially if I don't have a lot of time. If I'm before work or something, I'll go and hit a place. And I found them I get before go in a place. And then when I come back out, find it, and I walk right by going in.
Yeah. I tell you what, out of the sheds I've found in my life, I bet you half of them I've tripped over. You know, I just don't have the eye for it. And the hunting for them, I wish I was better at it. Wish I had more patience for it. It is a patient thing to walk and walk and walk and walk and walk for, you know, one horn sometimes or no horn sometimes. So.
Oh yeah, there's times I'll go a week at a time and not find nothing, and then all of a sudden there's that one day, man, you can't carry them out of the woods.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You have both hands full of them. I mean, and I tell you, the best days in January, February, March, if it's an overcast day or it's raining, you can guarantee I'm in the woods somewhere. Them are the best days. It's like them horns, they shine like a new penny, man.
Oh, wow, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I guess they would.
Oh, yeah. Sunny days, man, are horrible. You can't see nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Today I found, this year today, I found hammers. When I checked my camera and he dropped, I took off. I found his set. I found 2 other singles, and then found a shed off a plate in about 3 hours. And it was raining that day. I was soaking wet when I got back to the Jeep, cold. But it was worth every bit of it.
Yeah, I would say finding those. Guys, I think that's a good point to move forward into some of the deer that Doody you're chasing. You know, if you got any questions about shed hunting, don't ask me or Josh, ask Doody. Yes,
anybody. People message me all the time asking about it. I don't care one bit to help a man out.
Yeah, and he's obviously better at it than either one of us. He finds them all the time. And but let's move it forward right here, Doody. Let's there's a deer you're chasing you've named Booner, and I've seen pictures of him. If you looked at the page before this podcast, you've seen pictures of him, and he is an amazing deer. It's a deer that dreams are made of. You know, us as bow hunters, that's everybody's dream, to kill a Booner deer with a bow. You know, and tell us a little bit about this deer. Tell us the history with him. When did it all start?
It started about 2 years ago. Me and a buddy, we had pictures of him. He was a 2-year-old, and he was in the mid 130s when he was 2.
Wow.
And we didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was 4 or 5 more, you know, around his size. And the following year, I didn't hunt up there much, and I kept hearing about everybody talking about, man, there's a giant 10 up there. It's unreal. Well, I always shed hunted up there. And then year before last, me and a buddy of mine, Billy Cook, I said, man, I want to go up there where I used to hunt at, where I hunted at last year. I said, man, they say it's a big deer up there. I said, I don't believe it's as big as what they're saying, though.
Yeah.
And we got up there, man. We walked around the gas road. And we'd probably been in there a couple hours. And I said, man, I'm going to check this point. And I said, I'm going to come around and I'll meet you back down the road. And when I walked up on that point, I started around through her and I looked and all I seen was tines. And I just stood there and looked at it. I couldn't believe how big it was. I mean, it just.
So you saw him in person?
Yeah, I saw him. I saw him on the hood this year. Me and Josh Hanshew did.
Wow.
He is all we could do. When we were sitting in the blind, 3 does come through the holler, and when I looked up there, I said, "Josh, are you?" And he just grabbed a hold of me. He said, "Man, I've never seen nothing like that in my life." And he was probably 80 yards away from us, and he just took him does through the holler and went right on through her. And we sat there all day that day, and just hoping that he was gonna bring one of them does back through her. And he never did.
Never did. What are you? How are you trying to get on him, Doody? I mean, what are you doing to hunt him? Have you got him mapped out at all, or is it just are you still learning the game with him?
I'm still learning with him. I found his shed year before last, and this past fall, I really got in there and hunted him. And this coming up, I feel pretty good about this fall right here. I've done a lot of scouting. I've shed hunted in there. I've been all over every inch of it here in the past 2 months, and I really think I'm gonna move up a little bit. I hunted him low last year. I'm gonna move a little bit higher up on the mountain. I think where I found his sheds at, where I found Hammer sheds at, I think I'm gonna concentrate right there on that area right in there.
What do you?
I think I got a good thing.
The shed that you found last year, what did those sheds score?
I had them officially scored. The biologist that lives down Sun Hill for the county, he scored them for me 175 and 2.8. That was with an 18-inch spread. And
that was year 15, correct?
Yeah.
Year 15.
Yep.
How much you think you put on in 16?
I'd say he was mid 180s this year. He may have been 190 inches. I know he was a whole lot bigger than what he was from the sheds I got.
Wow.
And he was only the biologist said he was 4.5 years old. That's what he was estimating with the set of sheds I had when he was carrying in. Wow.
So you got a freak of nature on your hands. 4.5-year-old.
Yeah. He's nowhere near done growing.
Yeah. So that's you might have something really special on your hands. I've kind of shy away from saying those big 200 words, but I mean you might have something like that on your hands. That's a.
He's the biggest deer I've had some nice deer on camera over the years. I've killed some good ones, but he's by far the biggest that I never thought I'd be hunting something like him. You know,
are you trying to hunt him all season, or are you waiting to a certain period to go after him, or is it a?
Actually, this year right here, I didn't hunt him a whole lot until rut started. I didn't want to go in there and bust him out. You know, put a lot of pressure on him, and I just hunted him a couple times. I wouldn't go in there and just lay in there. You know, I'd pick my days when I went in there.
Yeah. Try to do it right.
Wait on the right weather, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah. That's everything.
I've messed up before, you know what I mean? When I first started, I'd get in there and lay on a buck, and they'll go nocturnal one. You know, I had a lot of daytime pictures of him. It was just with work. I was on Whitetail at the time, and I'd get pictures of him 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'd go in there after work and try to hunt till like 2. And then he'd show up in the evening time. It was just, you know how it is. It's a game of cat and mouse.
Yeah. It's a huge game of cat and mouse. Josh and I can both tell you a lot about that. You know, that's part of the fun of the chase. You know, I always say my favorite part of the hunt is the chase and the adventure of it. And it's just trying to figure these deer out and, you know, trying to get on one. I mean, I don't know. I joked yesterday with Nathan. I said, you know, if a deer that big walked in front of me, somebody's going to die. It might be me or him. So I don't know.
I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know if it's just, when I seen him this year, I mean, he was way out of bow range, but oh man, I'm telling you, I couldn't imagine having him at 20 yards broadside. I mean, it'd be unreal.
It's a lot better if they just come in quick. If they come in, you got to slow walk them. Watch them come in, man. It makes it a little bit tougher. If you you quick, it makes it a little bit easier.
You know, the picture I sent you is the one I told you I shot at, missed, and the horn fell off his head.
Yeah.
That deer right there, I watched that deer for 15 minutes, and I had me tore all 2 pieces. I mean, that was a big deer, man. And he come in behind. I was in a valley field, and he come in behind the blind. And I looked out the window, and I seen legs. And when I bit down and looked up, all I seen was a rack. And I dropped my boat back because I thought he was going to walk straight out in front of the blind. When he run up the valley field, then he turned and he started back down the valley field. And he just took his sweet time coming down through her. And, man, the more I couldn't take my eyes off that rack.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a 150-inch deer standing there, and all I could look at was its horns.
Josh tells me that he keeps...
That deer's body was huge, too.
It was 3 days before season went out. And when I shot, I thought I smoked him. I mean, he was 10, 15 yards. And I called Jeffrey, my buddy, and I got out of the blind, was looking for blood, and I turned around and looked, and her lady's left horn, and I could not believe it.
Wow. That's tough. We've all had one of those misses. It tears you up inside. Yeah. Josh telling me, hopefully my opportunity's coming at my 150 plus inch deer one day, but it's he says just don't look at the horns, man. Focus on the kill spot and try but how can you not when something that big's coming at you? Hey, and that's Doody, I hope you get a chance at Booner. If you do, I mean that would be awesome. I would love to see him in person. I think I would get in my car from North Carolina to come see that deer in person. This is to put my hands on.
I'll give you a chance to look at him.
I hope so. And there's another deer you that runs with him named Hammer. You got a little bit of history with this guy too. Let's have a little conversation about Hammer.
I'll tell you right now, as big as Booner is, if Hammer, I get an opportunity to Hammer, I'm gonna take him. He's a mature deer. He's a deer I've watched him grow up. I mean, I got his sheds from when he was a 2-year-old. I got one off of him from when he's a 3-year-old. I got his set as a 4-year-old, and then I got his set this year as a 5-year-old.
Wow. So I
got a lot of history with that deer.
You got this.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's Josh. It kind of reminds me of Josh. So he had a big chase for Swoop, and Swoop wasn't the highest scoring deer in the world, but again, the story and the chase is so much bigger than the score. It's huge. Now the Hammer, is he? You said I heard you tell me he runs with Booner, but I'm sure during the rut they don't run together. Do you have a map on this deer at all, or is it you just firing from the hip on him?
Hammer, they run together in summertime, and the battery groups break up, and I don't see Hammer a lot during the rut. But about mid-December, he will lay on me. I had a buck. Matter of fact, I messed up this year. I shot a buck this year. He was a decent buck. I mean, he wasn't a giant. Shot him, went and checked my camera 2 days later, and had 3 days in a row hammering the daytime.
Oh, no.
And it was towards the end of the season. But in December, I got a bunch of pictures in December and January of Hammer and Booner together.
Now,
they've always run together.
Ran together in that period of time. Now, what do you think Hammer will score this year?
I think he'll be around. He didn't do a whole lot of growing from last year to this year. I think we scored him. He grew 3 inches, gained 3 inches on one horn, about 2.5 inches on the other. So he's about what he's going to be, I believe.
Yeah.
Because he was a 5-year-old this year.
Now you scored him right at 150, right?
150. I was adding a 15-inch spread. It's 150 inches even.
150 inches even. That's a heck of a buck. They're
a pretty set of horns now. Actually, he's got a little more mass than Booner's got.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Now we hunt some of the same parts of the world. Josh is in Logan, and then we're also in Wyoming County with you. Do you have the same bear problems we have?
Oh yeah. Yeah, bear. I mean, I try not to. I don't put a whole lot of corn out because of. I mean, there's a certain time in November you usually don't see a whole lot of bear, but early in late season, especially this time of year when you start putting your mineral stuff out, man. I remember back when I went to check the camera the other day, one of my mineral sites, and had a bear down in there licking on it. I mean, it was, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
I do the same thing. I usually wait till late September, October, then, I'll fill the feeders up. And we don't hunt over the feeders, but, we'll hunt travel to and from.
Yeah.
You can't, and like you're saying, any other time of year when you need to be pouring the supplements to them, you can't because of the bear. Hopefully that early September season will help some and get the numbers dropped back a little bit. state's going to do something because it's getting out of hand.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere, man. Like a lot of these boys are. Y'all time hear people talking junk about these boys bear hunting with dogs. Hey, buddy, I'm glad they're either hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, they stand out.
Yeah, they do.
Yes,
They.
they do.
How many different ones did we have on camera last summer at the least, Josh? There had to be 15 or 16.
I had 550 acres leased, and I had 11 different bear, 11 confirmed different bear on it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see half of what's there.
Yeah, and I mean we couldn't and if anybody follows our page, they've seen the big deer that a lot of us are chasing, Double D, but we couldn't keep a camera up on that deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, last picture I had was a cub hanging upside down on the tree swatting my camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've had that happen, but there's a couple places that I've moved cameras, trying to find, exactly where boner really is the core areas at, and can't do it for the bear. I mean, it just, they'll tear. I've had 2 blinds tore up in the past 2 years, and they'll shred a blind up like it ain't nothing.
Yeah. That's just that's a chew toy for them. That's a.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I remember when I was a kid, you didn't see no bear around here. Somebody seen a bear, all the place you seen a bear was up on Boat Mountain. I mean, but now they're everywhere, man. I mean, it's just, and I'm glad we got another big game animal to hunt, but they're just.
Well, there's got to be some control with it.
Oh yeah.
And that's the main thing. Well, guys, Doody, I appreciate you being on. I really do.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, I did too. And I hope we can have some more conversations about shed hunting. Maybe you can teach me how. But that's
Hopefully we can do one here about November 10th or so with had some pictures of Booner on there.
Yeah. I'd love to see
Tell
that.
us about that hunt.
Yeah, they guys, if you got questions for Doody, he's already said he'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Look him up on Facebook, shoot him a message, Doody Cook, Doody Cook. You should be able to find him there. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our companies that helps support our podcast here, Hawk Tree Stands. If you're in the market for a new tree stand, check them out. They are the most innovative company in the market, and it's not because they're helping us out or any of that. Buy one and try it yourself. Josh will tell you it is the most comfortable, versatile tree stand available. They also have a lot of other accessories, even ladder stands, bow hooks, harnesses, deer haulers, you name it, they got it. They're priced well for the average hunter. A guy can get out and use them. You don't have to break the bank over it. And we really appreciate their support and everything that goes along with it. Guys, again, thanks for tuning in.
If you're looking for a stand to sit all day and all the accessories to make it happen, your Hawk's the way to go.
Yeah,
they have everything. And, anybody that hunts deer during the rut knows you got to hunt all day, and Hawk will make it happen. More seat time, better chance you got.
Yeah, 100% on that. Guys, that's going to be the conclusion of Whitetail Anonymous podcast number 7. Again, I'd like to thank Doody Cook for coming on. Shoot us a message.
I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Listen out for more.